Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Mike again, coming to you from Jaco, Costa Rica with another update for Lawrence Family Missions. If you recall my last update, I mentioned we'd be speaking or visiting the missions conference. I was asked to speak there. The conference was awesome. We had a really good time there, met some great people, and we're really blessed to be able to participate. I was able to share one of the main sessions as well as a workshop and be a part of some Q&A. And on top of that, just meeting people, ministering to people, and being ministered to. And it was really fun. We really enjoyed it. And so I want to thank those of you who were praying for us during this time and supporting us in that, both through finances, but also just through your prayer and encouragement as well. I mentioned in our last update that we had a big announcement to make. The big news, the big announcement is that God is calling my family and I to transition back to the United States. He's made it clear that after 12 and a half years, our time in Jaco, Costa Rica is done. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue to minister here and we're not going to continue to visit. We will. We still have a heart for Jaco. We still have a heart to see the work of the Lord continue in Jaco. But He's shown us and confirmed through many sources that it's time for us to move back to the States. We're not leaving here wounded or hurt or anything like that. It's been actually a really peaceful time for us. It's been difficult because this is our home. You know, we committed when we came here to do everything we could to see this town reach for Christ and to live our life here until He told us otherwise. We know that we were sent here for a purpose, and that was to plant a church and to reach people for Christ, and that purpose has been accomplished. Our church will continue. There are some guys that I've been discipling the last year and pouring into. They're going to continue to see the church move forward. So we know God has good things that He's going to continue to do here. He is doing here. Big things are happening here. But we also know that He has big things ahead for us. And we've already shared that with our church here locally. And there was tears, but there was also a lot of confirmation. And they agree that our time here is done. It's time for us to go to what God has for us next. So it's bittersweet, you know. 4 of our children were born here. This is the only home they've ever known. We've been married for almost 18 years, and 12 and a half of that was right here in this town. In many ways, I feel like we're actually going to the mission field now because this is our home. Even though we're Americans and we come from the States, we have been here for so long and we've been established here so well that now it feels like we're leaving home to go to the mission field. Our plan, if the Lord wills, is to move back next month, sometime in November, by the end of November, for sure by the end of this year. We've got some things up in the air that are going to determine that. One of them is, and I asked you to pray for this, is we have to find a home for our pets, or it doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring them back, and that's been really difficult for our family. We've had our pets for a number of years now. One of our dogs we've had for 11 years, and we want to make sure they're left in a really good home and a place that will care for them. And so that's going to be one of our delays on when we get back. Praise God, we do have a house waiting for us to land in. A family member has offered their home to us rent-free. We'll have to pay for utilities, phone, internet, electricity, water, whatnot, but we won't have to pay rent. And so it'll be a place that's not going to be a long-term solution, but it will be a place for our family to land and see what God has for us from there. Now, what He has for us there, we don't completely know yet. And that's what's made this a little bit scary. We know that He's calling us. We know that He has put a call for ministry in our hearts and a desire for ministry in our hearts as well. Our immediate plan is to get 6 months of rest, a sabbatical, if you will. In 12 and a half years, we've never had a sabbatical. We go back for furlough, but our furlough is actually busier than our time here most of the time. We're visiting so many friends and family and supporters in the States that when we get back, we need a rest. We also know that we need time for missionary care. You know, missionary care is where people, counselors, and pastors come alongside of us who can relate and understand what we're going through as we now leave this culture and come into a new culture. But not only us, but our children. You know, our children are American by birth, but they're Costa Rican by how they were raised. And so they're third culture kids is what they call it. They don't really belong completely here, but they also don't belong completely there. And so they're going to need counsel and encouragement during this time of transition as well. And so our heart is to really seek some missionary care, people that can pour into us. I've said it before, our time in Hako was blessed, but it was also the most difficult 12 and a half years of our life. And what we've seen God here is nothing short of miraculous. And the fact that we're still here is a miracle. But we know we're gonna have to process through a lot of that and what life will now look like at the next stage. We really have a heart to continue to minister and to serve, to teach. And so we wanna do some of that. But first, we wanna get rest. We wanna get some missionary care. As for you, we really covet your prayers during this time. 12 and a half years on the mission field is only possible when there's a team of people doing it. And that team has been you, our supporters. We have no doubt that if you had not been by our side in prayer first, but also in encouragement and financial support, we would not have lasted 12 and a half years. And so we know that this next transition is going to be the same. And so we're going to need you now more than ever. Your prayers for our family. Our children don't know what life in the States is like. And so they're a little nervous about that. They're excited to be back with family and some friends they have there, but they're also nervous about that. My wife and I have been radically changed during our time in Costa Rica. We came here almost 13 years ago believing we were coming to see God change Hako through us. And what I'll say is that really what God has done more than anything is He's changed us. He's really changed our hearts. He's done such a profound work in our heart and in our marriage. I'm so thankful for what He's done in us. And I know He's done a work through us, and I'm thankful for that too. But we're going back very different people than we were when we landed here 13 years ago. And so there's going to be an adjustment for us as well. Church and ministry and family life has been very different for us in this culture and in this place than maybe it will look like back there. And so we need your prayers for that as well. We also ask for your financial support for that. It's not possible for us to do that on our own. Our missions organization allows us to receive support for 3 months once we leave the field. We're hoping to get a 6-month break once we're off the field. And so what I ask of you is that you would consider and pray about supporting us over the first 3 months, I should say, once we get back. And if able, send in some extra support that will allow us to survive for that 6-month window of seeking rest, getting missionary care, traveling to visit family and friends. We've got family members we haven't seen in 10 years because we haven't had the funds to be able to travel and visit them, or the time when we're in the States because they're spread out. And we really want to be able to go see our family and friends, supporting churches that are out of our immediate area. And so these are things we're going to need financial support for as well. We're so thankful to say that we have a vehicle waiting for us in the States, and we have a home waiting for us in the States, but there's going to be much that we still need. And so in the blog post that this video is on, I'm going to have a list of needs, one-time needs, but also monthly needs. And if you could, I would ask you to please pray how you can support us in this time of transition. Of course, we're going to continue to be in touch with you. This isn't the last update you're going to get because, one, we're going to continue to be involved in ministry, and we want to keep you updated with what the Lord is leading us to do. We want to finish well here. And so we've been working on this now for the last 6 months. I've mentioned in our last couple of updates that we had big news coming, but we were waiting for the right time to be able to tell you. And so we appreciate your prayers, your encouragement, wisdom. If you have any wisdom or insight, contact us directly. We don't really know what to expect other than God is faithful and He's going to do big things. And so it's bittersweet that we give this update, but we're excited about what God has next. We're excited about what God is doing here, and we're thankful that we've been able to be a part of God's work in Hako, Costa Rica for the last 12 and a half years. Good things are coming. And thank you so much for your support over the last 12 and a half years. Thank you for your continued support over the next 6 months or so as we finish well here, move back to the States, and then get a season of rest and missionary care. We covered your prayers during that time that God would give us those divine appointments that we need, meeting the right people in the right places in the right time to see what He has for us next. We look forward to giving you our next update and filling you in with what God is doing on this journey. Thank you. God bless.